Hello, and let's talk about Ogilvy on advertising. One of the best books I've ever read. Not glazing it that hard, but like it's really good. It's a good book. He's very straight to the point. If you've never heard of Ogilvy, he is one of the best advertisers of all time. Guess what his nickname is? Literally called the father of advertising. I don't know how much more hype you can get than being called the father of advertising. Today, we're gonna look specifically at his tactics in advertising, which you'd probably wanna do considering he is the father of advertising. So let's have a drink of the day. We got a poppy. Don't overflow, don't overflow, don't overflow, don't overflow. Okay. Grab your snack if there is one, and let's get straight into. In the book, he quotes this guy named John Kalps. John Kalps, don't really know much about him, but he did say something really cool. He said, I have seen one advertisement actually sell not twice as much, not 3 times as much, but 19 and a half times as much as another. This is the really cool thing about advertising. In a lot of jobs, a lot of professions, for instance, let's talk about lumber work, cutting wood. One person who is average at cutting wood could almost cut as much as one of the experts does. They're only going to get like maybe 3 times better than the average guy. So the expert's only like 3 times better than the other average guy you could hire. Where in marketing, the guy you hire can give you exponential results. And I think that's one of the reasons why marketing fascinates maybe you, definitely me, is that there's so much power in it. You can reach a crazy potential that you wouldn't be otherwise in other careers. And that's one of the key points of this book, is that skill in advertising can multiply results exponentially, but it's not linear. You're not going to be just a little bit better than the next guy. By getting the best marketer and having the best marketing strategies, you are going to outcompete your competitors like an insane amount more than you would in any other career. And to prove this point, this is the next idea, I've pulled up some examples of ads that really grew certain companies. Put it on the screen. You got Apple, the 1984 Super Bowl ad. This cemented Apple as the creative rebel brand and launched the Macintosh with just one airing. This is I think throwing the hammer at the big screen 1986. Then you have De Beers, which I didn't know what that was at first, but then it turns out it's a diamond company. A diamond is forever. This transformed diamonds into the default symbol of love and created a multi-billion-dollar industry standard. I don't know if you know this, but diamonds shouldn't be valued at what they are, but because they have whatever De Beers has such a monopoly on them. No, I'm just gonna move to the next one. Old Spice, the man your man could smell like, revived a dying brand and boosted sales by 125%. You can't get that with anything else. Well, maybe like stockbroking and other business stuff. But majority of businesses aren't going to have this exponential opportunity that marketing does. Last but not least, Nike, just do it. Unified all product lines under one slogan and grew revenue from 80 million to 9.2 billion in 10 years. Marketing is very valuable. It's a tool you shouldn't cast away. I think somewhere Ogilvy talks about how in a recession you want to still keep your marketing team. You don't want to have that be the first thing you get rid of, because marketing is pretty much part of the product, is what one of the things Ogilvy argued for, as well as a guiding insight, which is great marketing isn't about doing more, it's about doing it better. And that's kind of what I've been getting at for the past 3 minutes, I'm gonna guess. Great marketing isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Yeah, I don't think I really have to elaborate. I think you're smart enough to get that point. Which brings me to one of Steve Jobs' big ideas that I kind of shoved into this presentation because it fits really well with what Ogilvy is arguing. It's about hiring, and specifically hiring the best of the best, what Steve Jobs often calls A players, which is the difference between A-level copywriters and B-level ones. Could be millions in ROI. I don't know if this, I don't think it's from the book. But the thing is, you want to focus on talent, not volume, which does have exceptions, which is fair. If you're the most talented marketer, and then you had just an average one, your profits and the thing that you can work for, I'm assuming you're the really good marketer, and you will be if you continue to watch this channel and subscribe. But that really good marketer is gonna completely outperform the average marketer, and it's a really significant difference, and it's why people, if you're hiring or something like that, maybe you are, you want to hire the best of the best, you want to hire the A players. Now, some actual words from Ogilvy himself. Everyone involved, okay, let me give you some backstory before I get into this idea. Basically, in the chapter, he's talking about how people think all advertising is good advertising. And I'll give examples coming up, but Ogilvy says this: everyone involved, which is referring to the people who think any advertising or any marketing is good marketing, has a vested interest in prolonging the myth that all advertising increases sales to some degree. It doesn't. Here's why. George Hay Brown's research. Basically, he brought up, there are two ideas that were brought up. Ads for actually lowering sales, which happened when they would advertise a certain ad in a magazine for a year, and they run a statistic, maybe it was Mr. Brown who did it, but they found that people who saw the ad were less likely to buy a Ford than if they didn't see the ad at all. Same with beer ads reducing consumption. I forget the exact reasoning behind this, but I think it's because all beers are pretty, no offense if you drink beer, but they're kind of the same, especially with advertising. And to link beer to your specific brand is pretty difficult, and is the reason why it doesn't actually increase sales. It might even decrease them because you're practically advertising for your competitor. So the lesson here is, if research shows your ads are hurting your sales, stop it. No. Okay, come here. Zoom in. This is really important. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to whisper like that. But Ogilvy's idea here about, I'll leak it, doing homework is magnificent. It covers the entire book. It's everywhere. Let me just detail it to you in this quote. You don't stand a tinker's chance of producing successful advertising unless you start by doing your homework. David Ogilvy. He goes on and on about this. And homework can mean different things. It's not school homework. It's not like schoolwork. Marketing school. Remember, marketing's fun. Most of the time, I think. But one thing he often finds, and an example of this, is he talks to, and not an inexperienced advertiser, but
not someone who's an expert. And what he does is he asks him a question: is how do you get inspired? Where do you do your research from? Where do you get your information for the ads you run? And the guy responded, I don't. I have my own original thoughts. And Ogilvy saw this as such a loss. The fact that the person did not do his research and did not learn from the mistakes of previous advertisers, or for us, previous marketers, it left him behind. He didn't get very good at it, probably. I don't know the full story. But the main picture here is that we must do our homework because no one else does it, and it's literally going to make you better. So, round of applause for homework. Wow. Next point. Which probably is actually about homework. I wouldn't be surprised. It is about homework because this point finds itself on every single page of this book. Step 1. Study the product deeply. Ogilvy's example. Rolls-Royce ad came from obsessive product research. David Ogilvy, big claim to fame, one of his big ideas, which we'll get into big ideas later, stick around for that, is his idea for the Rolls-Royce ad, which he spent days researching. He talked to the technicians. He would learn more about the car, and where he eventually found the title for not his thumbnail, it's not YouTube. The title for his ad was in a manual where he read, at 60 miles an hour in the new Rolls-Royce, the loudest sound is the digital clock, which I don't understand because digital clocks don't make sound. So I don't know if that's like a pun. I wasn't born in this time, so I don't know what it's about, but it was a big idea. Come here. It was massive. Step 2, study the competition. Find what works for others and build something better. He says it's a really good idea, and I might have put it in later in this document, but I'm going to bring it to you now. Look at me. Ahead of schedule. Basically, if you and your competitors sell the same thing or similar thing, instead of comparing, just be more honest. Don't talk about, oh, we're so much better here and here and here, and look at our competitor. Instead, just be more honest. And if you're more honest than your competitors, people are going to trust your brand more, and they're going to buy more of your brand. 200 IQ. So that's, I think, a little bit what this is saying. And this is a personal note for me. This channel exists to do the homework others skip, documenting the best marketers' minds in history. And you can see there's a drawing of myself, but the idea stays the same here. I'm doing my homework, and I think this is one reason I find the homework idea so fascinating is you probably don't see many of your other marketing friends doing the kind of research you do. Just saying, you're on the right track. Speaking of the right track, image means personality. Every advertisement should be thought of as a contribution to the brand image. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. If you start bringing out ideas out of pocket and they don't match the brand and they throw things off, it's going to be a bad time. So just don't do that. Okay. Brand equals consistency. Stick to the same personality year after year. For instance, what is this channel about? This is my first episode, so maybe it doesn't remain the same. But from what I understand right now, this channel is about learning from history's best marketers. Pretty good, I think. And that's what this brand's going to say, consistent. And now it's tied to my name, so I have no escape. And this is, I think, what I was getting at a little. No, it's not what I was getting at. But it's a good idea. Quality matters. It pays to give most products an image of quality, a first-class ticket. If you're trying to invest in, let's say, this light right here, okay? Are you going to buy the $5 one, or are you going to buy that $50 one? Well, you probably assume the $5 one isn't going to work very, very well because of the cost. So by having something, and you saw the reviews online for the $50 one, it looked like something of quality, you're going to pay more for it. Same thing with whatever you're trying to sell, just do that. Next point. If your advertisement looks cheap, it rubs off on your product. So as you can see, I put a lot of effort into these videos. It doesn't look cheap because I have to do all of it. So it is actually very cheap, but it's very expensive on my time. So please subscribe because I spend time doing this and I literally have 0 subscribers. But if your advertisement looks cheap, it'll rub off on your product. So don't make it look cheap. Make it look really good. The idea is to focus on quality and making your item look like it has the most quality. Think of it like what's it called? Coca-Cola, which I only tried recently for the first time in El Salvador. Not the hype. I'm sorry. I'd rather have my Popeye pop. Third point. The brand image is 90% of what the distiller has to sell. Self-explanatory. You just need to make sure you have a good idea of the brand. Did you know, fun fact, and then we'll get to the fourth point, that marketing was considered to originally be called branding? Cool fact. Fourth, people tend to care more about the image than the product itself. And this, I find personally really stupid from a consumer standpoint. But from a marketer standpoint, this is your advantage. You want to make your product look better than everyone else's. And referencing what I said earlier, you can do this by being the most honest product on the market, getting people's trust. Trust is important, especially today where you feel like everything's gonna try to scam you. Like, speaking of which, I have an online course starting. See, you heard online course and you're starting to not trust me. I'm not selling you an online course. I'm not selling you a coaching program. I'm teaching you for free. So let's, sorry, I didn't mean to traumatize you. Let's get to another really good David Ogilvy quote. You can do homework from now until doomsday, but you will never win fame and fortune unless you also invent big ideas. Think back to the Rolls Royce. Big idea. That was one of his big ideas. And I didn't put it here. In the book, he said, out of his lifetime and his, I think he called it like fertile career. Basically, he said, out of my entire really successful career, because he did a lot of good stuff and whatever, but he said he only had 20 or so good ideas, like really big ideas. And think about it like that. Big ideas are rare, big ideas are powerful, and big ideas can change your life. Why do big ideas matter? They elevate good research into unforgettable campaigns. And then this is Ogilvy's word. Advertising will pass like a ship in the night. Without them, and then I stopped writing. Look at that. Amazing presentation. I should fire the person who ever made this. Basically, what in essence he's saying in that quote is that people are, I actually do not remember why I put that quote in. That's embarrassing. What's not embarrassing is this other idea that I will exchange for the ship one is you shouldn't stop running one of your big ideas. And this is something Ogilvy talks about in his book. that people are like a moving parade. Advertising is like a moving parade. It's not like a standing army in the sense that when you continue to advertise that same successful big idea ad, it's going to continue to reach new people because people are constantly moving, constantly changing. And so it's important to milk those big ideas for as long as you can because you get very, very few of them. But Tyler, how do you recognize big ideas? Glad you asked. Ogilvy's 5 questions. Did it make me gasp? Do I wish I thought of it? Is it unique? Does it fit the strategy? Can it last 30 years? And a bonus one, sometimes the best idea is just showing the product. If you have a final or something to do tonight and you're trying to figure out whatever ad you should run to show the product, it'll work better. Take a screenshot of this. Good ideas. Love David Ogilvy. He's a good guy. There are a lot of dull products, only dull writers. Let me rephrase this. There are no dull products, only bad marketers. Are you a bad marketer? I mean, I can admit myself that I'm probably a very bad marketer, but I'm not going to ruin the product because I'm going to keep going. So just be careful what you do and don't ever say, oh, the product's too boring. I can't really do it. The thing is, if it's boring, you're not paying attention. Every time I've written a bad campaign, it is because the product did not interest me. If you can't find any if you can't find any interest in, let's say, this product, this Poppy, it's going to be very hard to come up with an idea to sell it. But the things that you are interested in, you're going to have a much better time, an easier time, and more productive time advertising those. Next idea. When products are equal, and this is what I was kind of saying earlier, trust is built through honesty and clarity. Just say what's good about your product and do a clearer, more honest job of saying it. I don't really want to repeat myself too much, but in essence, again, if you have the same thing as your competitor, just do a better job of being honest and having clarity. People are going to buy the product they trust more. Another quote, positioning equals what the product does and who it is for. This is something Ogilvy said. This is like a formula for positioning. I actually don't really know much about it, so we'll leave that to a future video, but that helped you out. Good for you. Another quote, when you reach for the stars, you may not quite get one, but you won't come up with a handful of mud either. Again, just throw yourself out there. Dream big. And the thing is if you fail, you're going to be at a better position than if you never were to try at all. Okay, now let's talk about winning. Why experts win. The good ones know more. Research separates professionals from amateurs. Millions are spent testing ads, but nothing is done to analyze patterns of success or failure. But basically, he's just arguing good people, the best of the best marketers, best advertisers, whatnot, they just know more. They're just better. And with marketing and advertising, the results are exponential. So you want the best person on your side. And how do you get better? This is what I'm saying. Homework. It's all over the book. Do your homework. And millions are spent testing on ads, but very few people actually review and study them. And that's what you are doing right now. Good job. You are doing a very good job. I give you a golden star. But I want you to avoid repeating mistakes. Advertising agencies waste their clients' money repeating the same mistakes. I think you're smart enough. I probably will fall into this trap. But the thing is you got to be wary of repeating the same thing over and over again, because I think that's Albert Einstein's definition of insanity. Don't exactly remember. But let's do a little historical lesson. George Gallup and Vianney Vanier pioneered performance-based advertising. Consumers continue to react the same techniques in the same way. I think what I meant to say is that this is another overarching thing. Stuff will change. For instance, when I say stuff will change, I'm referring to the medians at which advertising or marketing is based on. For instance, in the 1900s, it was radio. It was newspaper. Then the radio came, then the television came, then the internet came, and then now we have social media. So the next evolution, I do not know, but I calculated it'll probably be around 2030, because in the 1900s, it was every 30 years or so, you would have a big revolution in the way marketing was presented. And right now in the 20th century, the last time that social media to, I think I put AI, because AI made a big impact on marketing, which is 2020, I'd say, is the big beginning rise of AI. I'd say we have up until like 2035, because I have a feeling it's going to take a lot less time to come up with a new medium. Maybe we ran out, don't know. But it's going to be around 2035, 2040. Be ready, something's going to change. Predicting that right now. Okay, and so now I just got a list of really good ideas. I'm going to bullet through them right now. Repeat what works. Repeat it until it stops selling. You are advertising to a moving parade. So I was saying earlier, keep doing your big ideas. They're rare and they're powerful, and you don't advertise to the same person twice usually. Just keep going. Number 2, word of mouth is equal to lightning in a bottle. Campaigns enter the culture, manna from heaven, but nobody knows how to do it on purpose. In other words, think of like the ice bucket challenge or sticking lead into computers. Because of word of mouth and social media now, but I'd say modernizing this idea of Ogilvy's is that if people are sharing something on social media, it's going to spread like wildfire. People rarely are able to do it on purpose, but when it happens, it's very powerful. Milk that until the day you die. Number 3, avoid committees. And Ogilvy hates committees. It's kind of funny. Most campaigns are too complicated. By attempting to cover too many things, they achieve nothing. Makes sense. Focus on the main things. Get that campaign done. Number 4, direct response is king. If all advertising followed the example of direct response marketers, they would get more sales per dollar. I think this is more of a, I don't know how to translate this today, and I didn't really know what direct response was, but basically it was just smarter people than the committees. For instance, not committees, companies, the agencies. Agencies would have bought ad times for television during prime time when most people are on. But what direct response people did is they would buy during the night, late at night, because that's when people are most prone to buying something. Number 5, style versus results. What makes a good advertisement? One that sells the most, not the one that pleases you statistically. In other words, and he kind of said this at the beginning of his book, he hates people trying to make creative ads. Ads should be made to sell. Same thing with marketing. Creative marketing, if it helps sell, then it's useful. But like, really, dude, all we need to do is we just need to create good ads, good marketing stuff. I could be more specific once I know more about marketing. But once we have that, then we can focus more on selling the product. Our goal is to sell the product. And I think that's all I have today from Ogilvy. He's a great guy. Highly recommend his book, Ogilvy on Advertising. I'll probably have an affiliate link in the bottom that no one will click. You better not click it. That would be very bad. You would actually help out the channel. So that would not be good of you. And I'll probably do more stuff on this book. I do not apologize for how unpolished this video is. This is my first video on this channel, and it's probably going to be like this for at least another 2 months. So I'm going to be figuring out how this works, how you enjoy the videos the most. I'm going to try to do my best here. Thanks for sticking to the end. My family, Anthony, and all you guys, absolute legends. Hope this video ages well. Godspeed.